Welcome back to C.HR with Ariaunstewart. Today we have Ysanne Marshall with us. Thank you so much for coming out. If you wanted to take a second to just introduce yourself to everyone.
Thank you. My name is Ysanne Marshall. I am a singer-songwriter, and I am a arts impact coordinator. So pretty much that sums me up, more or less of the story. We'll dive in, I'm sure, a little bit to dissect those things.
You do so much, like you do a lot within the community, so as an arts impact coordinator, like you were saying, and then also as a songwriter and a singer and an actress. I got to see your Billie Holiday play, which was just amazing, honestly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, like I was so excited, when we came out there, we knew we were going to see a good show, but you like blew us out of the water. It was crazy.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
that was exciting.
Can you tell us, like, how did you get to that point of performing in that?
So that particular one, I have a membership with Backstage.com, and I go through different auditions, different things. So I used to do for cruise lines, but we're not gonna talk about that. But okay. But also like theater pieces and little commercial things. There's so many different things on there. So I was blessed to actually be able to audition and go through that process online.
Yeah.
And then what was beautiful was there was another connective piece of a college friend of mine who whose husband was also the director. So It was crazy how like it was a reconnect at the same time from two different ways of me like going about me getting auditions and things like that. So I got it through auditioning online, and then like the second round of it, and then being able to have an opportunity to be in a one-woman show.
Yeah,
so
that was really amazing. I can imagine that was like, how did you feel going into it? Were you really like confident before you got on stage? Did you feel like ready, or were you a little overwhelmed?
Well, first when I had auditioned, I did not know it was a one-woman show.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was just a part in a show.
Oh, okay.
But, so at first I was like, oh my goodness, I need to memorize all of these pages and all. But, it was a beautiful challenge to like dive into that, and then to be like it was exciting. It was nervous at first, but I just pieced at it, and then I ended up being a part of Billie, or Billie a part of me in a way. So I was able to like own the role in that space. Yeah. From like what I have like built from her legacy. Yeah. And what I was able to grasp from it. Yeah. So it was such a beautiful, like, up and down in terms of emotional space too. Just because of her upbringing and the time that she was here. You know, her career started in the 1920s, and it was just there was so much going on, and being at that time, and us being women of color, her being a woman of color at that time, like there was still a lot of racial upfront blunt acts going on, from day-to-day people to the government to police, all of that. So there was always a disadvantage, even with this beautiful gift that she's given us. So to keep in mind like that she couldn't really be outspoken in a way. The setting of the show, of course, is in more of a club setting, so it's not as political and out in the public. It was more of a personal, intimate space. And that's why she had those moments where she was able to talk about like this different scenario she had been in, kind of talk about her life some more. Yeah, she was really loose and open for conversation, but she still had sass to her. In like an interview that I saw when I was researching her, she was asked about if you were locked up and you only had like one record, or one record that you had like 5 songs on or what have you, like what would those songs be? And like good songs. And so she named them, and then the interviewer said, okay, what would be like, okay, so what about the worst? Like, who would you like wouldn't want to hear? Oh my gosh. Like type of thing. And she was like, oh, don't know. I don't know. And then he says, Elvis Presley. And she was like, oh, no. She did not like Elvis Presley at all. Yeah. And she was just like, oh, no, that would be murderous. I was like, oh, my goodness.
And she said that on the interview?
Yes. So she had a lot of sass, and she was very funny. So it was beautiful to have that connection, too. Yeah. Because that's, like, my default, like, my being really goofy. Like, when I'm nervous and stuff, a little deflector type of thing. Yeah. So that was when I was like, oh, okay. This is me. This is like my auntie right here.
You're right. You can relate to her for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I thought was amazing, and I feel like you did a really good job. I mean, obviously, I didn't get to see Billie Holiday in person, but I felt like I did, honestly. But how you would go from like just talking about something to quickly getting into like a soulful, powerful like ballad. It was just, that is crazy. Honestly.
Yeah, that I feel like I have what I call music Tourette's, and I just start singing something out loud or in my head in the moment of whatever situation because it reminds me, and so like I break out in a song. So I felt like I was so connected in that way.
Yes, perfect. You were ready for this. So what's your background in like singing and acting? Like how did you learn? Are you self-taught? Did you go to school for it?
So my dad's a singer.
Okay.
When I was really little, and I was 3 years old, they started putting me into dance. And then at 6, I started playing the piano. And then I started to sing when I started doing piano lessons. So about, 11 or 12? Yeah, between like 10 and 11, because I started like playing like Titanic and like singing at like people's weddings and stuff. Just little stuff like that. So I built my confidence through that.
Nice.
So thanks to my parents, they exposed me to a lot of little things that I can explore and kind of self-expression.
Yep, and at a young age.
At a young age. Yeah. So I have something that, I can hold on to. And I ended up falling in love with singing and writing. I wrote my first song probably when I was like 8 or 9. After hearing like Brandy's song, Have You Ever? I was just like, she knows how I feel. Like, I want to do that. Like, that's what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
So like connecting with people through the arts is like my thing. So I'm grateful that you're able to like connect in that when you came to see it. I was like, when I saw you guys, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you guys came.
No, it was an absolute, like, I felt like it was a privilege to even be able to experience that. It was really, really good. It was really good.
Thank you. It was awesome.
And you do a lot of other things too. So I want to get into, to switch gears a little bit. So you talked about getting and receiving grants for the different work that you do in the community. So can you tell us about like some of the projects you've done in the community and the grants?
Absolutely. So in terms of the grants, I had received grants to either financially support my music endeavors or to provide community stuff. In some aspects, they intertwine. So I have been able to provide creative workshops. So just like I was talking about, my parents allowed me to express myself in the different arts growing up. I feel that people just need to be able to do that at the basic level. Yeah. Not saying that you have to go professional because you have this skill or because you're expressing yourself. Like if we take away the fame of it and the professionalism of it to a financial stance of it, and just keep the technique of the art and the feeling of the art, that we'll be able to just release and heal in a subtle way in ourselves. Because I feel that people may deteriorate from or aren't motivated to do anything in the arts because they didn't start when they were 3 years old. They didn't start at this time, or they don't feel that they have the talent to do painting or to sing or to play drums or to do graphic design or what have you. They just feel like, oh, I don't have this skill, or they don't feel any confidence. But it's like, who cares?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just do it. Like, just do it because it's something that you need to release. Like,
exactly.
Just take on that want to like explore.
Exactly.
And the curiosity. You don't know what you're gonna gain from it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be an external thing that's giving you something in return because of this thing you created. That initially may have not been something you were gonna like give out to the world in the first place.
Yeah, and you can do stuff for yourself too, and I feel like that's something that's hard to maybe balance with the arts too, because it's like we see a lot of artists who are also producing for like a profit, but there's also that art that you do for yourself just to be like as a release and to relax.
Exactly.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, but that's the mindset of the workshops.
Yeah.
So what I had created, and I had a wonderful woman, Leah, to assist me in a teaching artist project, which we got to use my idea as a pilot idea. So we had a workshop that was called Black Girl Magic, and it was for girls, black and brown, that are from ages 8 to 18. We had 7 girls that ended up participating. The youngest was 8, the oldest was 17.
Nice.
And it was so beautiful it was a 2-day workshop, and we had creative writing and we had dance. So I did the creative writing, and the other young woman I worked with, she had did the dance portion. So
I like that combination.
So we split up the girls, and we had our 2 separate workshops that were happening at the same time, and then we switched.
Yeah.
And before that, I had a questionnaire for them, and the questionnaire was basically saying, one of them was saying, how comfortable are you with expressing yourself? And most of them said 2s and 3s. Maybe one said like 4 and another maybe 5.
Yeah.
But the majority of them said 2s and 3. Yeah. By the last day, which was it was a 2-day workshop, Saturday and Sunday. The second day, they were all 4s and 5s. And they were like, "Are we gonna have this every week?" And I was just like, "I wish."
Oh my gosh.
And they had such a great time, and I gave them these rhyming books, and they were just like exploring like crazy. They started rapping, they started like coming up with poetry and like stories. It was just so beautiful to see them in that space.
It's like you transform their lives. Like that's
And that was huge. In just 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, and that was really what, maybe 3 hours, no more than 4 hours each day. You know, so just giving people or children the tools to create and express. It's just an expression, just like how we're talking, we're just expressing ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just another art form. So now fast forward to now, I ended up receiving a grant with Free Center out in Connecticut, who assisted me on providing more workshops. But instead of just the students, just the kids, I have some for the adults. So
oh, nice. Okay, I was gonna ask. I'm like, it sounds like something adults need to.
So yes, initially, I wanted to do it for the adults, but the opportunity first was given as to the kids.
For the kids, yeah.
So that was a great opportunity. So now we just did one in December. We have another one planned in January 8th, and then another one February 26th.
Awesome. Okay.
So each of them are different. So the first one we had creative writing. This one January 8th will be dance. And then the one in February will be painting.
Okay.
And they're all free.
Oh, nice.
So thank goodness for the funding, just because I feel like the work of expression is needed. So that's why that I'm doing it. That's the community part. Going. So like, it's a twofold, because I'm still learning. I'm always learning in terms of my craft, and I always get inspired by so many things and so many peoples at different levels and at different ages. Yeah. So I wanted to keep that community aspect. So, but the grants allowed me to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome that you are able to get those grants and do good work with it, because right now I feel like a lot of people are talking about like, what can we get from our communities? Like there's money and finances there, and we just need to have the brain power to be like, where does it go and how can it support us? And I think it's really cool that you started with the youth, because I think it can impact anybody at any age. But like you said, even having the exposure to like music and the arts as a young kid, completely changed your life and like helped you fast track.
Definitely.
Yeah. So as far as like the grants go, what are some tips you would give to people writing grants? Figure
out what your goals are first. So because there's so many grants out.
Yeah, it can get overwhelming.
It definitely can.
Yeah.
You need to know what your goals are.
Yeah.
And then you can also, what is the industry that you're focused on? You can look at it in that way. So for me, what I did was I went on Google and I put in the state that I'm at. I'm in Connecticut. So I put art grants in Connecticut. And then it will pull up, like, so for us, it's the Connecticut Office of the Arts is like our main, like, big nonprofit in Connecticut. So I saw that pull up. Then I started going through, and then it's kind of a rabbit hole in terms of that. But there are, like, national endowments of the arts. Yeah. That's across the nation. Okay. So you can also apply for those things. Nonprofit organizations, in terms of being an individual. So say if you're an individual and there's a grant available that you may have all the criteria in terms of it, but you're not a nonprofit. Maybe you can start building relationships with a nonprofit organization. And partner with them. And have them be the sign-off person for you to receive that grant, because that's usually it. Yeah. And nonprofits do that. Because so they would get a small percentage of it, because as long as it meets their mission statement, that's their job. Exactly. And it's probably helpful to them to have somebody who can actually go in and coordinate it and execute. Yep, exactly. So awesome. Thank you for those tips. That's really important. Yes. And then also, so you went to school and you got a degree in art and entertainment management. Yes. And then you got your minor in communications, which I can tell all through, like, everything that you're doing is being put to really good use. Thank you. So where'd you go to school? Like, what made you want to go down that path? So I went to Dean College, and initially I wanted to do music management, but art and entertainment management ended up being the choice I ended up getting. They were supposed to have a music department, but they did not. But it's okay, because my life journey has brought me this far. Okay? It all worked out. It all worked out. So, yes. So, and the concentration was in communications. So, pretty much what that was is I learned about profit and non-for-profit organizations and how they worked. Okay. Which is part of the reason I'm able to, like, understand the grant realm. Yeah. Because I did have a grant writing class as well. There was books and case studies, the turnaround cases in terms of the arts and how one person is able to kind of change the mindset of an organization and turn it all around and make that nonprofit organization that was in deficit, making it so much profit. Wow. You know, so that's what I went to school for. And then the communications part was I was able to work with video and audio productions. So, like, the behind the scenes, behind the camera of doing that piece of work. So I think it gave me a great respect and basis of, like, how to navigate in terms of self-managing myself as an artist, you know, being able to have the confidence and understand when someone that's on the production side, when they're communicating with me, I'm not completely lost. Like, oh, no, you just take care of it. Like, I don't want to be that. I want to be a team. I might not do that work of the teamwork, but you can still understand, but I can understand so I can execute my part. Yeah. That's an awesome just overall mindset. I really, like, you inspire me. Like, the fact that you do everything that you do, and you also have, like, a full-time job that you're doing too, right? Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. So do you want to talk about, like, how you balance that? Maybe if you want, talk a little bit about the job and, like, how you still make time to perfect your craft? Yeah. So, yeah, time management as best as you can. I am still working on it. You're doing great. So I look at my personal craft, my entrepreneurship, just as if a corporate job. So holding myself accountable to deadlines and to repetition daily task, repetition monthly task, weekly task. It's important. So I believe because I have that part of the discipline in me, is part of the reason why I'm able to balance to a certain extent. It it's like two different mindsets, but not at the same time. Like, you know, a corporate is going to have a different response than an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur is more of an individual kind of person building a relationship. And like, you know, you can hold that person accountable. Yeah, whereas if it's a company, like, oh, it's just the company. Yeah, exactly. And then that person can go just build another company and do the same thing.
That's very true. They say, like, CEOs and stuff like that in big organizations, they usually last about, like, 5 years' time before they're like, oh, okay, something went wrong, let's put it all on this person, fire them, and keep it pushing, as if there's not, like, an owner. Yeah,
because that's, like, that 5-year mark is usually how, if there is a CEO, that's a good mark to have a really good review. Yes, there's the quarterly. Yes, there's the semi and the annual, but that 5 years is actually a good chunk for a CEO in terms of a minimum. At least like giving them an opportunity, unless they're doing something blatantly crazy.
Right. Exactly. So what would you say when you're like relaxing, unwinding, taking time to yourself? Like, what does that look like for you?
I am. Well, right now, I mean, it is a peace of mind, so it's not fully crazy. I am wrapping up my yoga certifications.
Oh, nice.
So studying that is awesome. Not stressful, but stressful because I want to complete the task of having my certification. Yeah. But it's filling because of what I am intaking in terms of the knowledge.
Exactly. And what you're doing, right? Because you're going so what does that look like for a certification? Are you in there
it's a 200-hour course, as well as, of course, there's the 2 papers I have to do, and then of course the test. Classes, our classes have been virtual since I started. I ended up getting a partial scholarship, so I can get it, and that's always great discounts. Okay, especially for your education, like. So so 200-hour course, some practicing, so doing actual guiding practices. So what was beautiful is that the unexpected. Connective, parallel, spiritual for me, because I am a Christian, grew up Christian, and I saw a lot of parallels in terms of reading, so it kind of gave me a lot of comfort and filling at the same time. Yeah. So that's why it's like a filling thing. It's not stressful. So that is one way that I do unwind, whether it's the physical yoga or studying, as well as painting. I do that a lot.
I love that.
It's just, I loved it.
I love that as you're relaxing, unwinding, finding something peaceful, you're like, oh, I'm going to get a certificate in this. Can't do anything half-assed. I love it. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So inspired right now. So, do you have any other like shows coming up? Anything else you want to tell people about, where they can find you?
Yes, I do have a website, so ysannemusic.com, YSANNE music.com. For all the latest things coming up. The creative workshops are front and center right now. I do, from the Billie Holiday show, the director, I'll be working with him, and I'll be working with him in another show that he actually wrote about Hazel Scott. Oh, wow. Which is a colored woman from the same time as Billie Holiday, and she plays piano. She was known for playing 2 pianos at the same time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I know you know how to play piano, but have you?
Ooh, not like that. Alicia Keys did a tribute to her one time. I was like, okay. But her and Billie Holiday were friends back then, so I'll be playing Billie Holiday again.
Oh, okay.
I hope I was supposed to say some things. But anyways, we do have some concerts and stuff coming up in terms of the music from that show. But shout out Najee, shout out Stu, in terms of the music and the director that I'll be working with, and then, you know, all this coming up.
And what was your website again?
ysannemusic.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ysanne, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you all for listening and watching. I want to give a shout out to the Association of Black Business and Professionals. It is a networking group and organization that comes together and shares resources between entrepreneurs and working professionals. Thank you so much for listening.